Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the new MOTU Origins Evil-Lyn number 2. This Evil-Lyn toy is just a direct recolor of the first wave figure, done up in colors more resembling her look in the 2002 Masters of the Universe toy line, the logo of which you can see right here. So, they give you an idea of where this is coming from. So that's really all this is. Direct recolor, just a nice little Easter egg for fans of the reboot cartoon. And I really think there's probably an audience for this, because overall she just looks pretty good with those colors. So if you've seen my reviews before, you know this goes. We're going to take a look at Evil-Lyn's packaging, then we'll open it up. We'll check out her little comic book she comes with. Then we'll see Evil-Lyn herself, look at her posability, her accessory. Naturally, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons today. And then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Evil-Lyn comes in your standard size MOTU Origins packaging. Your name right here. Title Evil Warrior Goddess, so that hasn't changed from the standard release. Still holds true. Again, you get the really cool 2002 MOTU call out there, which admittedly looks a little out of place on this because it's just a much more modern style than like the rest of the packaging, but it's still neat. I like that they put it on there. You can see the comic behind Evil-Lyn here, and you can see her scepter or staff like taped to her back. Look at the bending that happened when this thing got shipped to me. It's a good thing I'm not an inbox collector, let me tell you. Right on the back, we get our really cool artwork of Evil-Lyn, and this shows her in these colors, but she's also grouped with the prototype Merman and an early design for Triclops, as well as what appears to just be the more contemporary designs for Trapjaw and Stinkor. The flavor text here reads, "With dark magic at her disposal, Evil-Lyn's powers make her one of Eternia's greatest threats." Then, down here, we get our action feature callouts. Fit her crystal ball into her hand and twist into powerful battle positions. Yada, yada, yada. Alright, and then on the right side here, we just get our cross cells. Your standard, He-Man Skeletor that just seem to be everywhere. Faker. Then you get Fisto and Lords of Power, or Prototype Merman, and then Evil-Lyn herself. So, a nice, colorful wave. Admittedly, it's a little small, right? It's only 4 new figures, and then they just had to include these 2 just to flesh it out a bit. So, that is unfortunate. I would like to see more toys released per wave, but perhaps they decided that was too many at once. Maybe people weren't buying enough. I'm not sure. And here is the Wave 5 comic that comes with Evil-Lyn, Sucker Punch. Probably seen this by now, but basically Fisto's investigating something in the forest, gets attacked by a land shark. Apparently there's He-Man driving it, knocks out Fisto. Fisto's in a jail cell, has some words with He-Man, realizes something's up, punches him out, turns out to be Faker. And then we get the shot over in Snake Mountain with Merman and Evil-Lyn. And Evil-Lyn is rocking her standard colors in this comic, I guess for continuity's sake. And they're just talking about how, Faker was defeated, but then Skeletor points out that he's got a whole army of them. So pretty cool, pretty cool. And then as always on the back, we get our cross cells. Now we get to see the Evil-Lyn figure in hand. And just like the Wave 1 version, she's very simple. Just the basic figure and her staff. And that's it. That's all she got. So she's got her standard articulation, the ball-jointed head, universal shoulders, single bent elbows, elbow rotation, universal wrists, full waist rotation, universal hips. That one's kind of stuck. There you go. She's got her single bend knees with a rotation, a boot swivel, ankle rock, and an ankle swivel. So basically everything you come to expect from Origins. And then of course her just plain old scepter, staff, whatever you call it. I wish they'd at least paint the orb part of it just so it looks like something other than a piece of plastic. Now I will say I do prefer the colors of this toy, over the Wave 1 or vintage version, whatever you want to call it. Especially when it comes to the skin tone, because the Wave 1 figure, I don't know, she looks like a lemon. She looks like Lemon Grab, from Adventure Time, so I don't know why they went that hard with the yellow. If they had just kind of pulled back on that, I could have seen it working, but because they did it how they did it, I do find myself really preferring this version, even if her colors are from a different He-Man series altogether. Another thing that I didn't notice until I got her out of the package, she is not rocking the same knees as the Wave 1 figure. She's rocking the revised knees that I believe were first utilized in Wave 3. And I believe that would have started with the She-Ra figure. I think she was the first one to use it. To highlight the changes in the knees, here is our Wave 1 Evil-Lyn toy in her vintage or Funimation colors, whatever you want to call it. And you can see on the old toy, the knees, they're just kind of these flaps that look very unnatural. They look more like armor plating than they do part of her actual leg. Whereas on the new one, she actually gets like shapely kneecaps, so it actually looks like you're looking at her legs and not some piece of armor. Also, the whole thigh piece, because I say the knees, but really the entire thigh piece is what's different. The old ones on her and like Teela had these really weird like indentations right here. You can see that. They look very, very unnatural. I don't know why they have those, because it's like not a clearance thing, all right? Their legs don't, I mean, I guess you can kind of squeeze them in that far if you really want to, but it's not something that's natural. And then we get, you know, the new version, which are just much more normal looking, more realistically shaped. So I am happy that they did, you know, upgrade this version to give her the much better legs. Now, I will say that I have seen versions of the Wave 1 figure with the fixed legs. So at some point, I'm not sure when it was done, they must have, you know, rerun and re-released this figure. And when they did give her the updated legs. Unfortunately, I really don't want to spend the money again to, you know, buy this toy just to get the better looking version. Now, I don't know if they did the same thing with Teela. I would say it's likely that there are some versions of the Wave 1 Teela figure out there with the updated legs, because I imagine if they'd re-released Evil-Lyn, they had re-released that whole wave, not just her. I don't know for sure, though, because I've never seen anything about it. All I know is that I've seen an updated version of this toy on shelves. I've also come to learn that the Sorceress figure that came with Castle Grayskull, the version that I got had the old knees like these, but I ended up buying my son the same toy, the same playset. His Sorceress actually had the updated ones, so I guess there was a running change there. So I imagine, you know, Wave 3 was really that turning point there where they made the switch. There might even be some She-Ras out there with the old knees, and I'm just not aware of it. But all that aside, you can see that these are clearly the superior piece. Those things just look absolutely bizarre. Okay, and here's one more quick group shot with She-Ra, just to show what I believe is the progenitor of the new and improved knees. So you can see she's the first one to rock it. I'll lift the dress up a little bit. And yeah, you know, way less weird looking. They're a little knobby, admittedly. You know, they kind of stick out a little bit, but it's still better than just like big, bulky flaps just like hanging down. Kind of made it look like they had excess skin, like maybe they had just lost a ton of weight and they just had like a bunch of skin like sagging over their knees or something. This, in my opinion, is way, way better, whether it's being rocked by She-Ra, Evil-Lyn, Teela, the Sorceress, whatever. Huge improvement. I'm really glad they did it. And this is going to complete our look at the new 2000X Colors Evil-Lyn. Like I said, I very much prefer this version over the standard one. The standard one had, you know, not been all weird and lemon grabby looking, then maybe I'd feel differently, because I do, you know, like the old vintage He-Man stuff. But I will say that her colors are very nice. Now, I do wish they had done more with this figure than just recolor her, right? 'Cause she is just a straight up recolor, if you don't count the, you know, improved legs. Nothing about her sculpting or anything has been changed to reflect Evil-Lyn's appearance in the 2002 cartoon. And there were some differences. I mean, you know, the overall design is the same at a squint, but there are some pretty key differences in the design. Now, since this toy came out, we know that we are getting a 2000X He-Man and Skeletor, and they both have updated molds, like on their bodies, their heads, everything, to look much more like how those characters appeared in that show. So now she does kind of feel like the odd one out. Like, she's got the color palette, but she has none of the sculpting, none of the accessories. Like, she really does feel lesser. So I'm not sure how I feel about her. You know, in hindsight, knowing that we have something better coming, it almost makes me hope they go back and revisit this design at some point. It will render this toy, you know, unfortunately very redundant, but I'd rather have an updated mold. That doesn't make this a bad toy by any means. I do very much like it. It is my favorite Evil-Lyn in Origins so far. but I would like to see what more they can do with this. If you don't already have the Wave 1 version, I would highly recommend picking this up. Again, I do feel that the colors are superior, and even if they don't exactly match the original toy or the show, she just looks better on a shelf. Like, she's way less eye-searing with the skin tone. The more muted colors, I think, just do her justice looking very evil. I always felt that the Wave 1 Evil-Lyn, not just her skin tone, but like the light blue they use and everything, is just too bright and really doesn't help sell her as a very evil character. These, with the more like goth-inspired colors, I think really work. So yeah, I would recommend this version over the Wave 1 if you don't already have the Wave 1. If you already have it, then this is really only if you just want to upgrade or you're a completionist. If not, really either one will work, just depending on which one is easier to get. Of course, that is just how I feel about this toy, so now I want to know what you all think of it. Is this something that you'd want to pick up? Are you okay with the idea of getting a second Evil-Lyn or alternate Evil-Lyn? Do you want to get her specifically because she's in these colors, because you might be a huge fan of the 2000X cartoon? Or do you not want this? Maybe it's too redundant, maybe you don't like the character. Any and all feedback's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at MOTU Origins Wave 5 2000X Colors Evil-Lyn. And with all that said, I will see you next time.